Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our IMS video posts, where we're hoping to support you integrating this COVID-19 situation into your practice and bringing your practice to the situation. And I hope you're doing well at this moment. And I want to point out that at this moment, part of that, sometimes we can say, oh, this happened last night and oh, it was so terrible, or this is going to happen tomorrow and that's going to be really hard. As I mentioned before, the present moment can really be a refuge, especially at times like right now when things are difficult. And so literally, how are you right now? Are you comfortable where you're sitting or standing? How's the temperature? Are you overly hungry or thirsty? Really kind of taking stock and seeing that perhaps your situation might be different, but for the most part, seeing that in the moment, things are really okay. And so the closer we can get to the present moment, the more chance for a refuge, especially when things are really challenging. But that's not exactly what I wanted to talk today. That was a little tangent, but helpful. Last time we were talking about the training guideline, or sometimes called the precept of not taking that which is not freely offered or not stealing. In general, we're going through the Eightfold Path and how we can bring that to bear on our situation. And right now, the beginning of the Eightfold Path, the ethical conduct path factors. So last time, not taking what's not freely offered. Today, we're going to talk about the training guideline of not speaking untruths or not lying. And as you may know, these precepts, and especially the one about speech, has so many nuances to it. It's not just about not lying. Of course, it is about that, but it's much broader than that. Specifically, two things for our situation with the COVID-19 I want to highlight in terms of speaking and bringing attention to our speech. The first would be not withholding information. So one could say, technically, well, I didn't lie, but what if you withheld information that was really important to someone? Let's just trying to think in the moment of an example, just a kind of inane example. You're driving with someone, and you're the co-pilot, and you're figuring out, where to go, and they take a wrong turn, and you don't say anything. You're driving in the wrong direction. You don't say anything. Well, that's not so helpful. You're not actively lying in the moment, but the withholding and not speaking that information would not be helpful. In terms of the situation with the COVID-19, it's really important that we tell other people if we even think we have been around someone who's been infected. There can be all sorts of reasons why we wouldn't want to say that, and these have to be seen really clearly with mindfulness. Because if there are reasons not to speak this and they're not seen, they're probably going to end up pulling the levers and switches and determining our behavior. So one reason why we might not tell someone would be just a sense of feeling like, we've done something wrong, or we're dirty, or we're less than for even possibly being infected. We don't want to be stigmatized. We don't want to feel cast out, etc. Yeah. So can be very strong in us humans, to belong and not be stigmatized or be seen as other. And again, if that's present, we want to know that. We want to be mindful of that and say to ourselves, yes, these feelings are there, and it's fine, not wrong or bad that they're there, but what's most important? It's most important, even though I kind of don't want to say it, to let this other person, hey, by the way, we're going to go for a walk tomorrow, and just want to let you know that someone that I met last week, I wasn't really that close to them, but I found out that they have a fever now. They haven't been tested yet, but just want to let you know that. So you can make a decision. You still want to go on this walk with me. I feel fine, but want to give you that information. So very important that we're doing that now and speaking, again, the truth of our situation, even though if there might be that kind of, oh, I don't want to do it. Another important arena to pay attention to in terms of our speech is to be careful about spreading information that we're not sure is true, especially kind of fantastical or alarmist information. It's so easy for something like this to, it's like you know, the California wildfires. It's just dry tinder and just one spark and whoosh, off it goes, and it's blazing. This kind of misinformation can really spread quickly and cause a lot of distress in people. So when I say, you know, that you don't know is true, it's like you heard it from someone. And you ask them where they got the information from? Was it from like a credible news source? Or did you just hear it from them, didn't find out, and then pass it on to someone? Yeah, so this is the type of speech that I think we really need to be careful about. Again, all this is not technically in the realm of lying, but it's in the realm of speech that could be hurtful or harmful. And again, our main ally in all of this is our mindfulness practice, being aware of what's in our hearts and minds, emotions, etc., that might be behind speech causing it to happen, but also in this last case, really being mindful about what we're telling others, being mindful of where we got that information, and do we know, at least to the best of our ability, that we've checked it out. Do we know that it's true or not? So these are just two examples. You know, we could sit here all day probably thinking of other examples about how it's important to bring mindfulness and care, really care, not just mindfulness, but care to our speech at this time. I just wanted to give you two, just in terms of kind of getting the gears going in your heart and mind to think, oh yeah, right, here's some arenas around speech that are particularly important at this time. So let's move into our meditation practice together now. This practice that supports this mindfulness, that is at the base of everything that we do, every way that we practice. This practice, especially at this time, has the capacity to help calm and ease the heart and mind. Finding a place now for you to do the formal meditation practice. You might be sitting on a chair or couch at home, or standing or lying down. Or perhaps you have a lot of energy and restlessness and you want to walk back and forth as you join us. I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes, and you can join me if you like. And the first thing I like to do is just to start bringing attention to my body in this posture, in my case, the seated posture. Just very simply knowing in a somatic way, felt sense way, knowing there's a body here. And just this beginning, just this simple connection with the mind and body is in its own way kind of, or can be, because it can also be very agitating, but often it can be very easeful. Kind of like coming home. The body and the mind aren't split. They're inhabiting the same moment now. Get a sense of that. Kind of a sense of coming home. Maybe this union of body and mind engenders a sense of relaxation or the beginning of a process of relaxation of the body. And we can also intentionally soften and relax the body. Which clearly brings mindfulness to the body. This first foundation of mindfulness taught by the Buddha, mindfulness of body. If you're having difficulty feeling your body when you bring your attention to it, you can put your attention on where your body is touching something. So say if you're seated, where your sit bones press down on what you're sitting on. If your feet are on the floor, where your feet are touching the floor. If you're leaning back against something, that contact area. And where your hands are touching. These are areas where the sensations of the body tend to be a bit more kind of palpable and noticeable. Connecting with the experience of body sitting. And as we keep our attention on the body, allowing it to soften and relax, coming into the experience of calm body sitting. Calm body sitting, calm body breathing. Allowing the rhythmic process of the in and out breath to be felt, again, felt somatically, and allowing that process to further relax the body. As the Buddha says in the Anapanasati Sutta, breathing in and out, calming the bodily formations. And to the degree that we can keep our attention connected with this process, breathing in and out, calming the mental formations. We're really connecting with the experience of right here and right now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not 1 hour from now. Just this and now. Letting the attention rest in the experience of this and now. Thank you for sitting together. Such an important way to start the day. So as we go forward through our day, bringing our attention to our speech, one last thing I want to point out is, depending on the situation and depending on who we're talking to, even if it's true, is it worth saying at this moment? Would it unnecessarily cause distress in the other person? So even if something is absolutely true, is it the right time to say it? This is one of the clear pieces that the Buddha pointed out when talking about wise speech. Is it the right time to say it? So if someone's already upset, especially in relation to the COVID-19 situation, and you're about to give them a piece of information that's true, but kind of hard to hear, is it the right time? Could it wait? Maybe it can't, maybe they need that information, but maybe not. So just bring that kind of sensitivity and care into the speech as well. And then of course, all these guidelines, again, they have their abstaining aspect, don't lie, but then their cultivation aspect of, speaking not just what's true, but what's kind and uplifting. And this is something we can all do at this time. Support each other and speak kindly and in ways that are caring and that uplift each other, because we could all use some uplifting at this time. Tomorrow we'll look at the training guideline of ingesting intoxicants that cloud the mind. Very interesting to bring that, or see how that kind of bears on this situation. So I wish you well for the day. And again, when things get this way, what becomes so clear and what matters perhaps the most is only being kind to each other. So we'll see you tomorrow. Be well.